Don says in question 13, then each entity is on a path that leads to the one destination. This is like many roads which travel through many places, but eventually merge into one large center. Is this correct? Ra says, this is correct, but somewhat wanting in depth of description. More applicable would be the thought that each entity contains within it all of the densities and subdensities of the octave, so that in each entity, no matter whither its choices lead it, its great internal blueprint is one with all others. Thusly, its experiences will fall into the patterns of the journey back to the original logos. This is done through free will, but the materials from which choices can be made are one blueprint. Yes. So here's a beautiful answer. First of all, Don states something that seems obvious to us, but still, he says, each entity is on a path that leads to the one destination. Yes, we're all seeking the one. This is like many roads which travel through many places, but eventually merge into one large center. All roads lead to God. Oneness. And so, of course, Ra sees the simplicity of the statement and says, yes, this is correct, but we want to get deeper into it. And Ra says that more applicable would be the thought that each entity contains within it all of the densities and subdensities of the octave. Why is there some beauty here? Because we're still living in a paradigm, a social paradigm, that we are being affected by the external world. In other words, we depend on the external world for us to be content, comfortable, happy, in love, in acceptance, and so on. It's almost like we are scared of our own image, and we're expecting that image to tell us how to be. And we're ignoring the fact that we are projecting the image. You see? So this places the responsibility that everything that you see is being projected by yourself, as opposed to saying, well, things are just happening to me. See, this is the ignorant part of the self that doesn't understand its true nature. And again, I always clarify that the term ignorant here means ignoring, not knowing. You see? So, unknown, the unknowing of yourself. This is why the most important thing in all of this that we study, that we philosophize, that we spend countless hours in, is the knowledge of the self. Because from ourselves is that everything is coming out. You see? So, Ra says more applicable would be, because maybe Don is saying, oh, many roads that we travel and they're all leading to the one. Well, oneness is not far from this road. In any case, the road that we seem to be taking is a projection of the inside. So if we feel separate, then we will feel like we're on a road of separation, finding the one, until we travel this road long enough to find that it's been created by us. And so if it's created by us and our yearning is to feel one, then stop creating the road. Stop externalizing yourself as a separate being and start communing with this pure essence of what you are, which is unity. The universe lies within, not without. I mean, for the materialist, the reason why we have billions of galaxies and trillions of light years, actually I think that's wrong, but we have an expanded universe. The farther we look, the more we're going to find, because it's us that we're seeing out there. So we're looking into infinity with limited eyes. The more we look, the more we're going to find. But the point is that all of this scientific materialist point of view of the universe is coming out from the sense of separation. You see, so we're going to see a universe that is separate from us. That's what we're looking for. We're creating roads of separation. And so how many galaxies do we need to visit and learn about cultures and traditions of different ETs and travel around the whole universe? That's the yearning of the scientist, to find oneness. Well, probably never, because the more we want to go outside and learn separation, then the more we're going to find separation. The harder it is to conceptualize unity. Whereas it only takes one to open your eyes and say, well, yes, all I see is one. In other words, I don't see anything else but oneness. This is not a philosophical view. And this is why it's not mystical. It's a simple understanding that the field of view, which is consciousness, that you are, is already one. You don't have two. The feeling of separation, the feeling of two-ness or manyness, is a perception. It's not real. The only real thing is that all appears in consciousness. So you see, that's what Ra is indicating here, in my point of view, my limited point of view, or limited interpretation, I should say. When they say, the thought that each entity contains within it all of the densities and sub-densities of the octave, so that in each entity, no matter whether its choices lead it, seems to lead, because it doesn't lead you anywhere actually, its great internal blueprint is one with all others. Of course, because we're taking the oneness, I mean that the immaculate consciousness that has no division, fragmenting it into the archetypical mind of the logos, and then the sub-logos, and then into the sub-logos that we are, and saying, look at this. This is something new. This is completely new. I've never experienced this. You see, so it's an inner projection, and it ends here. It ends in separation. You see, but when we get distracted in separation and we keep running around in circles, then it seems like we're getting somewhere. You know, it's like getting one of those field tracks and start running around. You say, boy, am I going to get somewhere. You know, ignoring that you're seeing the same landscape. You're ignoring the floor and the markings and everything. You see, but the writing's on the wall here. It's just one field. Clearly what we need is just to settle down, go inside and find this universe. Alright, so they say, thusly its experiences will fall into the patterns of the journey back to the original logos. This is done through free will, right? Through free will, we go into this journey, just like we have projected it outside. When I say we, we're talking about the logos. The logos that we are have projected itself through these layers of fragmentation, right? To create this beautiful flowering of the human kaleidoscope, that I call it. See, but then from this view of separation, which we say, wow, this is great. Then we say, okay, I came here to see everything. Now I go back. See, you go back to unity. Unity lies within. This is done through free will, this journey back. But the materials from which choices can be made are one blueprint. Because there's only one blueprint, and that's the archetypical mind set by the logos, which is guided by the original thought that the creator will know itself. And in this knowing of itself, it uses all of what it knows to create the creation. I told you I get excited about this, so let's keep reading.